All right, y'all. I'm here today with Brylan Hollyhand. We are going to talk about his book. We're going to talk about youth and conservatism, things that I think are really important right now. This is a great book. I've actually already read it, and it's fantastic. It's not out yet as of when this airs, but the second you can, just ahead of time, make sure you go get your hands on it because it's great. So we're going to talk about a lot of things that you mentioned in this book, but just dang, everything that's going on in the party, in the country right now. I think we have a lot to hit. So let's get right into it. I think a good pivotal point to start with is, what do you think, kind of overarching question, what do you think the role is for young conservatives today in the country?
Sure. No, absolutely. Alexis, thanks for having me. It's great to be here in Nashville. And we had to, of course, come to you before the book even came out. It's an important show to come on. And we appreciate you reading the advanced copy. And your audience can pre-order their copies at BrylanBook.com, all major retailers, and get it delivered to their door the day it comes out, July 9th. So we're super excited.
Awesome.
And your question is what this entire book's about. You know, I've spent the past 7 years, I got involved in politics when I was 11. I just turned 18 this past weekend. So I spent the past 7 years traveling the country, listening to as many Americans as I could. And over time, what we hear, and I know you've heard the same thing, is that people don't necessarily have hope in the future of America. And that's what we really want to bring back. We want to restore American freedom. We want to restore hope in this great nation, because you and I have hope in this country. We see that there is, the ability to bring the nation back to where it was. This whole Make America Great Again slogan isn't just a bumper sticker. It's really a meaning. It's something that we can actually achieve. And so that's, kind of the purpose of the book. And absolutely, I think our generation's poised and ready to do that. We have a unique opportunity. And, it was about this time last year where I sat down with the RNC and had that conversation. I said, look, guys, it's absolutely time to bring Gen Z to the table. There was a problem at the time, Alexis. There wasn't a table for us to sit at. And so we had to start the table. And I told the chairwoman at the time, I said, ma'am, it can't just be a kiddie table off to the side. You have to actually bring us to the table. Absolutely. And so
I love that.
We founded the Youth Advisory Council of the RNC. I am now the chairman, and it's such an honor to get to travel the country and talk about it. And it's a lot of fun. We have a great time. And poll numbers are looking great for youth for President Trump. So it's very well-rounded, and just enjoy doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that conversation up. I was going to talk about that. So a lot of people, I think, wonder what they can do to help and feel maybe small, or feel like, what can I actionably do? And we'll get a little into this a little bit later. But you went ahead and had an opinion, and you were a little bit critical of the RNC in some ways that I completely agreed with. And you ended up having a conversation with the former chairwoman. Can you expand a little bit upon that? Absolutely. I know it's a story that's in the book, and I think everyone should read it, but just will you give us the Cliff's Notes? Because
for sure.
I think it's important for people to see that they can, in fact, get involved.
Yeah, no, 100%. And the message throughout the theme of the book is hard conversations can bring real change. And the problem with our generation, and this goes for other generations as well, is we're not willing to have those hard conversations.
Yeah.
And specifically within the Republican Party, the grand old party, we didn't want to modernize. We don't want to have the conversations to move us along to where we need to be to win the youth vote. And so I think, that's a perfect example of a hard conversation, or what I thought was going to be a hard conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And so it all started the 2022 midterms that Republicans kind of underperformed in. We can be honest with that and say that we didn't do exactly how we hoped we would.
Yep.
And there was that period a few months after that where a lot of blame was being thrown around. A lot of fingers were being pointed, and different people were saying it was this person's fault, it was this policy's fault. We didn't do well here, there was the candidates. And I stepped back and said, take a look at the youth vote turnout. And then the people that did turn out, take a look at who they voted for. And it was obviously the majority Democrat. The DNC has had this stronghold on my generation for decades.
Yeah, what, 2003?
Exactly, yes.
That's crazy.
So we're 21 years of just, Democrats, having control over my generation. We've got to change that. And I knew that it was possible to change, but again, it would take a hard conversation. So I had spent, like I said, 6 or 7 years on TV as a commentator, as a talking head. And I said, being a talking head's great, but let's actually do something. Let's have change. Let's promote change. Let's take action. Because again, when I started at the age of 11, my mantra was, if they don't start going to do it, I'm going to do it. And that became a mantra again, last year. If they don't, so we're going to step up and reach out to my generation. I was going to reach out to my peers myself, with the party.
Yeah.
And so went on a network and kind of called out the RNC. It got the attention of the party, had this conversation, this phone call with the chairwoman. And I went into it, I share in the book, thinking I'm about to get blacklisted from the party. You have no idea what's going to happen. You call out the RNC, it's kind of the beast that's going to come back and bite you. And the chairwoman at the time said, look, I do agree with you. Her and I disagreed on a lot, but she saw that there was potential for this. And so I pitched this idea to the council, and then kind of stepped away thinking that would be it.
Yeah.
And she ended up calling me a few days later and said, okay, we're going to do this. but will you be the chairman if we have this council? And so I stepped on and did that. Obviously now we have new leadership at the RNC, which
Yes.
I'm so excited about.
I am
Chairman
too.
Watley and I had a really long phone conversation just this Monday, and going through just different ideas that he has for getting the youth vote engaged. So it's 100% the top priority of the RNC now, and we've seen through hard conversations how polling is now improved to like you said, since 2003 we've lost the youth vote. Now we're winning the youth vote by double digits, and that's huge. And all it took was one simple hard conversation.
Love it. That's great. Yeah, have those hard conversations. That's a great message. You can definitely tell that throughout the book. And I think that seeing the youth vote flip around, we've been preaching that there's hope in the youth. I know that, I have been, people comment on this show, people ask me in interviews, what do you actually have hope for this young generation? And I always say yes. And people go, well, if you say so. And you probably get a similar answer.
Yes.
Like, well, I'm glad to hear it from you. But I think that we're finally seeing the legwork of this younger generation go, we can't afford houses. We can't afford our lives. We can't afford the things that we are not even voting for.
Sure.
Us young conservatives, and you're coming up on your first voting election, which is so crazy that you've been in it, since, gosh, what did you say?
11.
So 11. Yeah. So, and you're just now voting. That's amazing.
And we thought 2016 was divisive, and it's only gotten crazier.
I know.
Crazy.
I was in college during 2016.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was in business and political science,
Very cool.
which was an entertaining time to go to college. But even then, people would ask me, what's it like in college? And of course, you're dealing with a pool that's kind of interesting. You're dealing with the college vote, which, as we've seen in the last couple of months, it's fascinating. The left has done their best to radicalize. But I think, getting back to the point here, there are a lot of the youth and the youth vote that we're finally seeing come to fruition.
Mike Lindell here, and like you, I see our country being destroyed daily. We face massive economic issues, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, there are people in power who threaten the values that have made our country great. Well, I've been a believer in gold and silver for a long time, and I've searched for years for a partner that shares my values. Well, Genesis Gold Group showed me how easy it is to protect your IRA, 401k, or your retirement with gold and silver. Their faith-driven approach to service and stewardship is one that stands out from the rest.
To get your free definitive gold guide and get started learning more about investing in gold and protecting your retirement from uncertain times, visit treasureandtrust.com now. Fill out the basic contact form and a member of the team will be in touch. Again, that's treasureandtrust.com or call 855-625-7760.